Hi, my name is Tom. We just picked up this Amazon Basics fan for my son's dorm room, and it works really, really well. I just assembled it. We've used it for a couple minutes, and I want to kind of tell you all of my impressions. So first of all, the fan itself is actually a really nice fan. It actually has two little blades in there. There's a big blade and there's a smaller blade kind of tied in. It does blow very well. I'll show you operation in a minute. There's plenty of air pushing out. It's not one of those little wimpy fans. This will easily cool off a dorm room. It'll move enough air in a dorm room very easily. It does have manual controls as well as a remote control. Again, I'll talk about that. You can adjust it up and down. If you loosen this little screw here, it does go up and down. And then it has a base. This base is a plastic base, but there's metal along the, it's actually kind of a weighted, there's metal along the bottom there. And the way that works is that kind of keeps it stable. It is fairly stable. I'm kind of rocking it back and forth here, but if I let it go, it's going to find its place. It is a fairly stable fan. It's a fairly big base, so it's a good fan for a dorm room, something you're not going to knock over. So let's talk about assembly real quick. Assembly is pretty straightforward. There is an instruction manual that tells you how to assemble it. You need to put the base on. It's kind of a screw thing. You have a little thumb screw here. You've got a thumb screw in the back to kind of attach it, and then you actually have this thing here. There's a couple of different steps to this to put the whole fan piece together. The remote's obviously pretty straightforward. You just put the panel on. There's a battery pack in the back. It does take 2 AAA batteries. You will need to supply those. One other thing, the fan guard. This guard that kind of keeps the whole thing nice and safe. It does require a little Phillips screw. You will need to have your own Phillips screwdriver. One is not provided. So you'll need to unscrew this, you unlock it, and then you can open it up, and you can just screw it back, lock it back up, screw it back in, and you're ready to go. So let's talk about operation. The actual remote is visual. It's a little LED light, so you can't go bouncing around corners or anything. But if you aim the remote at it, I can just go ahead and press the button. There we go. You'll see a little blue light, meaning that it's actually picked up the signal, and then some little red lights here that kind of tell you what kind of mode you're in, what kind of speed you're in. So there we are. We're going nice and slow here. And you can see I'm at speed 1. I'll hit speed again. Get it up to 2. I'll hit speed one more time. Get it up to 3, you might hear it buzzing. It is a pretty good breeze. It's pretty nice, actually. It's fairly quiet. It's not a real loud fan, so that's nice. You do have an oscillation. You've seen that you do have to have that line of sight. You can't go aiming it up. You have to kind of aim it right at this thing here. But you can also go ahead and manually do most of that stuff with the buttons down here as well. So there we go. It's blowing back and forth. And whenever you hit the oscillation button again, it will stop in that angle. So let me kind of get it back to the camera, and there we go. It stops right there. It is very responsive. And then I'll hit speed again, and I'll turn it back down to 1. Now, other things you have a mode button. You have 3 different modes. You have a regular, just a constant speed. You've got kind of a night mode where it goes up and down like waves, like a little faster, 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 then it slows down again. That's supposed to be for helping you sleep. And then there's kind of a wind mode where it kind of variable goes back and forth, kind of like the wind. It's strong, then it's weak, then it's medium, then it's weak, then it's strong again. And that's okay. I'm not a big fan of that one. I like the sleep mode or the regular kind of constant mode. I've had those on other fans as well. There is a timer as well, but in the timer you will need to know some basic math. So let's say I want this to go ahead and run for 3.5 hours and then turn off. I have to hit the timer button, and I have to make the little buttons equal 3.5. So that would be 1, 2, and 0.5. So 1, 2, 3, 3.5. So I have to sit here and hit the timer. Let's see here. Timer is a half hour. That's 1 hour. That's 1.5 hours. There's 2 hours. There's 2.5, 3.5 hours. There we go. If I let it go, it will run for 3.5 hours. I haven't tested it for that. I tested it for a half hour, and it was pretty good. The timer was pretty good. And then you can just kind of cycle through the timer to kind of turn the whole thing back off. There we go. It goes up to 7.5 hours, and it's off. And there we go. Back to regular kind of normal running. Overall, it's a really good fan. I will say one thing. You see, oh my gosh, it's got a little blue light and a little red light in here. Yes, those will actually stay on when you first hit the remote with it, just to kind of give you an idea of where it is. You kind of hit the button, it turns on just so it kind of knows. It does go off after, I don't know, about 30 seconds or so. So it does in complete darkness, so you don't have to worry about it. A bright light shining in your eyes all the time. It's a regular plug-in fan, but you just keep this thing on, it'll turn, it'll just go for hours. You can obviously manually adjust it up and down as well. There's a little bit of a click there, but you can go down, you can go up. and then the oscillation can be automatic. So it's all pretty straightforward. It's not too heavy. I don't know the exact weight, but I can pick it up and kind of move it around. As long as everything's tied in nice and tight, you can just pick it up by the handle and just walk around with it and move it around if you have to. The cord's not extremely long, so you may want to just kind of keep that into consideration. If the cord is probably no more than 5 or 6 feet. Overall, it's a great fan for a dorm room. We're gonna go with it. The review, overall, it should be a great fan for a dorm room. My son's dorm room is not air conditioned, so he just kind of needs something. He's going to aim it at his bed. He's going to run this. He's probably going to keep it on 1. He said 3 is really pretty strong. It really moves some air around. But the remote is a nice little feature to have as well. So if you're sitting in bed, you can just kind of reach up, turn it on and off without having to get up and walk over to it. Again, everything can be done manually here, but the remote's a nice feature to have. And the fan sounds really good. It works well. Putting it together was pretty straightforward, and it looks pretty sturdy. So yeah, highly recommended.